IBTS podcast. My guest today, Gianni Nicasio.
Yeah, man.
AKA Gianni Luminati.
Correct.
AKA Johnny from Walk Off the Earth.
That's me.
Johnny, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. I want to get right into it, man. I want to talk because you seem to have a magic to harness the YouTube world. When did you know that you were starting to figure it out? And what motivated you to start this whole adventure on YouTube with Walk Off the Earth?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have the magic or I just kind of did the research or I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just I just saw something there. I'm sure we've told this story before, but we didn't want to have to keep touring Canada. We did it a couple times and it sucked. We did the Warped Tour thing, and we were just like, it's so draining, and you're playing for like 10 people. And we were just like, how do we do this? Like, we're getting older. Like, we've been making music for so long. All of our friends have been making music for so long. It's just so hard to make things happen. So, like, what can we do? And, it wasn't even really about, I don't know, just like looking at YouTube, I wasn't like, oh, this is the answer.
Right.
It wasn't that. It was just like, this looks like fun at the time, right? So I saw some people doing it, and I had my studio in Burlington. And so I had the means to like kind of create video. And it was actually when I bought my first iPhone was like the first time I actually ever messed with video.
Oh, really?
So I didn't know anything about video. I still really don't.
Now who does, right? Except for
exactly. So, I bought an iPhone, 2, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I started working on like a cover of, I think it was like Magic or it was like a Beatles song or something. And I just remember taping a couple of hockey sticks together and like taping my iPhone on it and pressing record.
Making like your own pseudo tripod or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
And just like arranging a song and just recording it. And then I was like, okay, what do I do with this now? And then I had been watching like some YouTube videos at the time, and there was like, a couple of artists on there kind of doing covers and making different things. And I was like, hey, let's try uploading this. And, I maybe got like 500 views or something. And I was like, that was still cool. I was like, we just played a whole tour and maybe played for 300 people. Like,
okay.
So I was like, this is interesting. Okay. And like people were writing back and starting to follow us on Facebook because of it and stuff. And it's like, oh, you need to make more of these. And people were writing. So it just started kind of snowballing from there. And I started making more videos. I was working with Sarah at the time on some of her original stuff. And I told her about it. And I was like, hey, what do you think about, making some videos with me and stuff? At the time, like the guys in the band they didn't really think much of it. So because I had brought it up to them, I'm like, we should make videos, like we should spend. And they saw how long it kind of took me to make the one, which was like a good month.
Right, right.
And they were like, yeah, I don't know if that's really feasible. It's going to take us a long time to make these, and we should probably just keep touring and stuff. And I was like,
like I said this before to Sarah, the unconventional way, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Because your approach was, hey, let's stay home and work hard at the craft here rather than going out and playing in front of 5 people.
Yeah.
Like kind of doing, which I mean, I'm sure has its merits. We can argue both sides, but you're busy saying, let's stay in the lab and let me be the mad scientist.
Exactly. And another theory behind it is like you play a show, and yeah, that could be memorable for someone or who's ever there, but it's not as memorable as a video that never goes away.
Yeah.
It's online forever.
Sure.
Your kids can watch it. Your kids can't watch a show that you played 20 years ago, but they can watch a video made 20 years ago. So to me, it just made a lot more sense to spend time on something that's going to be sitting there forever and that could come back and do things for you for a long time rather than just playing that one show. So yeah, I just started doing it and then started making cooler ones and kind of when Walk Off the Earth started, I always had this vision of this wacky band that did visual things, that didn't just sit there and play songs. Like we always wanted to do something that was a little bit different. So that kind of moved over into the videos that we were making. Are like, how can we make this weird and how can we make this entertaining rather than just sitting there and singing a song, which is also a good move. Like we still do that. Sometimes we want to just sit and play with a guitar. I'm not knocking that, but
of course,
it was just something that we wanted to move towards. And once we started doing that, we saw right away like how people were very interested in it, and it kind of just lit a fire under our ass to keep making more. And that's what we did, and it started growing, and we noticed that we were getting subscribers and we were getting followers. And I think at the time, that was around the time that the Gregory brothers reached out to us, and they were like, hey, you're making some pretty cool videos. And that time I was like, they were like the shit on YouTube at the time, like because of, what was that? was that big song the Gregory Brothers had?
Let's find out.
Yeah, it was like
The Bed Intruder song. Yeah.
it's like the biggest song of the year in like 2012, 2010.
So the Gregory Brothers reached out to you.
Yeah, they reached out to me and said, "You're making cool videos. We're enjoying what you're doing. We have this song that's coming out that we think you should cover, and we'll help promote you."
Oh, nice.
And I was like, "Oh, amazing!" So
Was that one of the first times you kind of did like a cross promo opportunity?
yeah, pretty much. So it was the backing up song. It was kind of like where we first got our kind of break. So I called up Marshall and Jamesy and those guys, and I was like, the Gregory Brothers reached out to us. They want us to cover backing up song. They sent it to us before they even released it, so we had the song. So I did a kind of a cool cover, and they like promoted it at the end of their video, which had like a couple million views by like the first week. So our subscribers, like my phone was like like I had notifications on at the time, so it was my phone like
Bing, bing,
just all day long. So it was really cool. So I think we got up to like 10 or 15,000 subscribers from that. And then it was like kind of on at that point. We were just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And we just started, keep making videos at that point. And then Sarah started getting really involved, and she was super into it. And obviously she was on tour a lot, but whenever she was in town, we were like, let's make some more videos. And we just kept doing it. And, obviously that one video happened, not soon after that, the Goat Ye video, where we had no idea. We had no idea that was different, because we were doing our thing at that point, and we knew that like this was going to like make us have a career, whether it be big or small. Like we were going to be able to do this, like probably not, like we still had jobs at the time, obviously, and we would probably still have jobs for a while, but we were going in a direction where we're like, there's going to be a point where we could probably make a couple grand a month from this.
Right.
So, that was obviously driving us to keep making cool stuff, and we did. And then we made that video. And I remember the night we made it, we were just like, "Oh, it's pretty cool." Sarah's like, it's okay. I'm like, "Can you make a cover?" She made like a really like half-assed cover. She spelt the name like use. She, instead of used to know, it was used to know.
Right, used to know.
So I like finished it, and like I started uploading it to CD Baby or whatever it was, and I was like looking at it, I'm like, I think that's spelled wrong. She was already in bed, and so I had to like go like, wake her up and be like, "Hey, like I'm pretty sure you spelled this wrong." She's like, She like gets out of bed, she like fixes it, and then we put it up. And then like obviously most people know the story after that. Like the next morning it was chaos.
How did the 5 people, 1 guitar idea come to fruition? Like, did it come to you in like how did it happen?
It was actually,
because you don't just go.
It was inspired by a fan. To an extent. So there's this random girl that wrote me on Facebook. She was from like the East Coast or something, and it was during that time where we were making videos. So we had like we had fans at this point, and there was people writing me and just giving like,
15,000 subscribers. Like you said, right?
Exactly. So, So she wrote me and she's like, "Hey, check out this video. There's 2 people on 1 guitar. It was like a Spanish couple like doing this like thing." And I'm like, she's like, "It's pretty cool. You guys could probably do something like this." I was like, "Yeah, that is cool." So then I was like, it just kind of sat there for a couple months, and I was like, and I always kind of had it in my head, and it was actually the song that inspired it. Aside from her, sending me that video, I heard the song and I was like, that song is amazing. Like, because I'm a big, like, I grew up listening to a kind of alternative music, and I also like pop music. But if there's a crossover alternative song that's good enough to be a pop song, like that's my jam, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like I love pop music, but I'd rather pop music be like cool, real music rather than shiny pop music. So as soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is like a smash. It's got to be a smash. And I heard it before it had came to America, because it was big in like Denmark. And I'm always doing research on random songs and just like, different like markets. I'm always listening to like what's hot in France, what's hot in, because a lot of the times those songs end up coming to America if they're like number one and they're big. So that's where I heard it first, and it had about like 15 million views on YouTube, I remember at the time. And I was like, "Sarah, you gotta listen to this song." And she was like, "It's okay." She's like, I'm like, "Trust me." I'm like, "This song is awesome." Like, and when I heard like the parts, it kind of like, it had separated parts that could be done, like I just kind of pictured the guitar and like people playing those different parts, like the bass line, boom, 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 and a doom, doom, doom.
Yeah,
like
the simplicity,
it's not
right?
like chords. It's not like if you hear like a distorted guitar song or something, you're not going to think like, how can I play that on one guitar? But when you heard that song, I was like, it makes sense. So yeah, and then I was like, we could probably put 4 of us on this. I remember the time we were going to shoot the video, Taylor wasn't around. Like he like was
Also
busy.
known as Beard Guy.
Yeah, Beard Guy was busy doing something, probably playing golf or something like that.
Busy, yeah. Busy playing golf. So he wasn't necessarily
he wasn't
going to
be. Yeah, he was going to be in the video. So I never even had the idea of 5 people.
Okay.
I just had the idea of 4 people, and I'm like, this could be cool. So I started arranging all the parts, and I told everyone, I'm like, hey, like block off this day. I have this idea. I want to do this song. Start getting familiar with the song, and I'll send you guys the parts. So what I do normally when I'm making videos is I'll arrange all the parts, and then we'll send everyone the
like
parts.
what they're going to do.
Yeah, and that can change. Like if someone's like, oh, I don't like that part, can I get this part? I'm like, cool. So we figure it out, right? So I was doing that, and I got a call from Taylor like 2 hours before the video shoot, and he's like, oh, I'm available now. I'd love to come and hang out. Like I know there's no part for me, but I'm gonna come out and hang out anyway. It's like, we'd love to have you. Get your ass over here. So he comes over, and that's when I was just like, wait a minute, like we should definitely have him in it. Like he's in the band. Like let's figure out a part. So I was just like messing around with the guitar, and we were all, thinking of parts, and we were trying to like get him on like the higher part. And he doesn't really play guitar. He's more of a pianist.
Yeah,
so.
the experienced pianist.
Yeah, I mean, he can play, like, he's talented, right? So I wasn't worried about that, but it's hard to, like, find another spot for someone on a guitar. And then
you've already got 4 taken up.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay, now I got.
I remember, like, we were using this one guitar, and we were messing with, obviously most guitar players know that's a go-to move.
Yeah, sure.
You want to, like, hit that every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I hit
Above
it,
the
and
nut,
the guitar we were using, it didn't really sound that good. I think we were using one of the Cole Clarks at the time, and then Sarah had her Epiphone there, and that I remember like trying that, and it was like a couple of the strings were kind of in the tune of the song.
Right.
So I was like, this is it. Like he can just hit these on the ones on the quarter notes and the chorus and stuff. So that's kind of where that came from, and then that whole Beard Guy thing, it just came out of nowhere too, because he was. Like I remember he had like a shirt on and it had like a logo and his toque, and I remember Sarah being like, "No, the logo's wrong. Like turn the hat around, turn your shirt inside out." And then like he was singing at one point, like looking at the camera. We were watching it back. We're like, you know what? Don't look at the camera. Like, look over there, and just like be epic and just.
You guys were creating.
Yeah, but we didn't. We had no
idea. Yeah,
no idea. Yeah, no idea. So so that obviously was a big element to the video.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention like the merchandise afterward and like just the name now, and that's so funny that you don't realize it in the moment, and then all of a sudden it hits you. Like afterward, you're like, oh wow, we were like, you go back talk about it, you're like, oh my gosh, like what if he did sing and look at the camera? Like it probably wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, or what if he didn't cancel his golf game? Show up.
Yeah.
So that was it. It was such a perfect storm when that happened, though.
No kidding.
Because like the song was growing, but it wasn't really well known yet. Like the idea obviously resonated with people, the visual resonated, the sound. And it was just like the perfect time to drop it. And
Walk Off the Earth. Did you guys not have kind of a part in sort of helping excel the success of that song, even Gautier's version of that song in North America? Did you guys not kind of have a little bit of?
I don't really want to speak on that. I'm not really sure 100%. People tend to tell me that that's the case, but I'm not going to like, take anything away from him, because like, the song was a smash.
Yeah, absolutely.
In like 7 countries already.
Right.
There's no doubt it helped the whole campaign.
Right.
And you never know. It is hard to break songs in the States. There's lots of songs that become hits in Germany and those countries that don't even get a chance in the States.
Right.
So I'm sure it helped. But at the end of the day, I can't take anything away from that song. Like the guy who wrote that song, like Gautier, he killed it. He killed it.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit. So talking about recording this song and recording music in general, and you were talking about the studio you had in Burlington at the time at B Town. You had a little Studio B kind of in the back of the building, right? But you guys are kind of known. Walk Off the Earth. You guys are kind of known for doing tunes kind of out of your home studio as well, and kind of the home studio vibe. You kind of bring the studio where you guys go. Even on your tour bus, I see you guys are, there's always a set of headphones and a little speaker and maybe a laptop available. That's kind of, I guess we're in this new world where high fidelity it can be done a lot easier now, and it's a little more it's a little more available to people like us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys tend to do that quite a bit now, right? Even post shows or pre shows, right?
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, there's no time anymore to be sitting around, waiting for studio days and spending that type of money, because you can argue this, but I mean, like you said, the quality that you can get some of these things is the same as the studio most of the time. Like, obviously, if you're in rooms that have bad reflections, then that's a thing. But like when you're using mics like this that don't pick up a lot of that, you can get away with so much stuff. And like I said, I owned a studio for years, and I even saw like the decline of clients coming in.
Yeah.
And people just doing it on their own. I mean, obviously, it comes down to the producer and the engineer and the mixing. That's such a big part of it nowadays, because not anyone can do that, but anyone can have an amazing setup and a DAW for like under $1,000 or whatever it is, which is, when you're looking at studio time, that's like a couple days.
Sure, for sure.
I mean, we do, and even once we kind of had our big break and started working with like people in LA and like in New York and like some of these massive producers and big writers, they're using the same stuff. Yeah. Like they're telling me about #1 hit songs that they did in their basement, or they did in a hotel room. So it's not, you definitely, like, it is the proof in the pudding that you don't need that other stuff. And yeah, I love it. It's good to be, you can be so creative and so quickly.
It's nice to know too that like aligning, getting a Pro Tools rig, getting, a simple interface, getting some decent mics. It's nice to know that, you're aligning yourself with the pros. And, you guys are, now you're doing your work, and you're doing a lot of the work that, but you enjoy this stuff anyway. You're an engineer type and a producer. So you're kind of killing two birds, right? So I think it's just I think it's cool. I want to talk a little bit about, you guys just recently were doing a collab with the Eagles of Death Metal, and you were in a pretty cool studio. And we were just chatting earlier before we hit record, and just talk a little bit about that studio. It had some pretty cool vibes, some pretty cool tech, and it was like straight out of the 70s, was it not?
Yeah, this thing was like preserved from the 70s. It's called Valentine Studio. It's in somewhere in LA. And the dude who owned it, literally like in the late 70s, decided he wanted to be he was like a millionaire guy. So he decided he wanted to, he built this crazy studio. Like some massive artists did there. So Frank Zappa worked out of there. A bunch of people worked out of there.
That's cool.
And he had all this new gear and all this brand new furniture and everything. And he was like, I want to collect expensive cars and go to car shows for the rest of my life. So I'm going to close the studio down, shut the doors, but I don't want to sell it. So he like literally locked the doors and didn't let anyone use it for like 30 or 40 years.
Everything just sat?
Everything just sat there. It's crazy. So then he ended up dying 10 years ago. And his son inherited it.
Wow.
And got the key and opened it, and it was like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? Like,
you were saying there was some pretty badass vintage stuff in there.
There was so much stuff. Yeah, it's there's some videos of us online in there. Just so much.
Like, we don't want to get too tech nerdy for all you guys. So, but just for a moment, that's really cool, man.
Just crazy mics and like.
Did it have a cool energy in there? Was
it did? Cool, everything. There was like TVs and stuff that were brand new that were from the 70s.
That's so crazy.
There was coffee machines and like literally everything in there was from the 70s. And so you don't see that stuff being that pristine usually. If you're going to see stuff from the 70s, it's going to be dirty and smelly.
Right.
This stuff was like brand new, and
well
there was
preserved.
Coke machines and stuff, and with like Coke in it from the 70s that they're like, no, you can't buy that. It's still like, but yeah, it was pretty cool. And like we were talking about, because of the decline in people using these big studios, the prices were actually crazy good.
Right.
Like we ended up getting the room for like a ridiculous price. So
that's the wild thing too. You notice nowadays with big studios is it's just they've got to bend and mold and move with the industry, and it's just that's kind of where it's going.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing cooler, and than working in studios and being able to use that gear and just getting those vibes.
Like a great big drum room and stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Cool. And we still do. Like, don't get me wrong, we still, if we're doing drums, so we're doing, it's especially if we're working with like other artists that, big artists that are kind of used to that. Yep. So we'll go rent a studio and get them in there, and it's better than, bring them in your hotel room or like whatever like that. So you don't want to mess with the vibe.
The vibe, yeah. Sure. Why would you, right? I mean, it's about marrying the two kind of like vibes, right? And
exactly. But it can still really get expensive, so you got to be careful.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about because you guys now Walk Off. I mean, you guys are getting known for like you're weaving in celebrity appearances now. Obviously becoming celebrities on your own right, but you're weaving in guys like Snoop Dogg, and just recently actors like Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
What's it like working with people like that? Like,
well, I mean,
Snoop Dogg must have been a major. Sorry to cut you off. Must have been a major dream for a guy like you.
Yeah, I have a pretty intense story of the Snoop Dogg experience. We had like worked with him a couple times before this, and we'd always talked about maybe doing something. And he was like, "I'm a fan of your guys' videos." He's like, and I was like, "Would you be interested in doing something?" He's like, "Let me know the idea." So, so he had just put out a song. And I'm like, "I really love this song from your album. I'd love to do like a rendition of it and like have you feature on it." And he was like, "Let's do it." So we ended up, going to LA and coming in the studio. And some of you may know this about me. I'm more of like, I wouldn't say I smoke a lot of weed, but I'm kind of a midnight toker,
Nice.
for lack of a better term. So I'm familiar with the culture slightly.
Yeah.
So I knew that there was going to be that involved in the session. And so, because like I said, I've worked with him many times, and he basically has a guy that he hires that has like a big purse, like a big
the weed
Gucci
purse guy.
It's a weed purse guy.
Wow.
Who just rolls big dubs and
Always keeps them on.
keeps them lit. So I don't know if anyone knows anything about like Californian like OG Kush, but it's like next level. It's like so strong. Like you can't if you don't smoke a lot of weed, it can really like make you cloudy and make you weird.
Okay.
And like kind of like paranoid.
Oh god. Sounds like my worst fucking
yeah.
nightmare.
So we get in the studio and we're just sitting there and we're talking about like what we're gonna do, and then he starts lighting up dubs and like obviously I'm already like kind of weirded out because it's Snoop Dogg and like people our age. He was like
Snoop Dogg, man.
He's
That's all you gotta
Snoop
say.
Dogg. Yeah,
Snoop Dogg.
exactly.
Snoop Lion.
Yeah,
Either or. I'll
so-
take both. Either or doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. So at the same time, when he passes you a doobie, you don't want to be like, like he's trying to get in a vibe. You don't want to like say no, I don't do that, because I know how like
that's when the record scratches, the lights turn up, and it's like
you want to connect
over.
with him, right? We're talking about how we're gonna do this. So I took it in, and I knew it was gonna be strong. So I just I didn't inhale very much. I'm just like a little, boop, boop.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter, and I got really high. And it's just like so weird. I was just like, oh shit, I'm so fucking high. I was just walking around, and like, he's like, all right, so let's take. He finished eating his like spaghetti or whatever he was eating, and he's like, okay, let's do this. And like, as you would expect from Snoop Dogg, he has like a massive entourage. There was like his managers there, his like assistants. So all these people are in this room. We're in like this crazy studio that like Michael Jackson built. Like, yeah, it was like, I can't remember what it was called, but so it's already like so super overwhelming. There's this massive board, and obviously I'm producing the song, so I'm getting
Super
ready, and like
fucking
my
high.
manager's there, like our team's there, like just so many people. I don't even know half the people where they came from. There's just people watching. Like everyone's just like, okay, like what's gonna happen? Johnny's gonna record Snoop Dogg. So like, all these people are watching, and I'm mega stoned, and he goes in the booth, and he just like. We're like, all right, and then like it's like one of those movies, just like where you're like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna do it? Like, are you gonna pull this off? And like the Hitchcock zoom. It was like the Hitchcock.
Yeah,
zoom.
the zoom out dolly, and
I better snap out of this. And like I literally just like kind of like snapped out of it. And I'm like, hey, all right. I'm like, let's do this. So then I was just like, press the button. I'm like, all right, Snoop, let's do it. So he does the first take, and to be honest, it was bad. I was like, oh shit. So I'm like, this is where like everyone was kind of looking at me, and I'm like,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what
man?
do you do about it? And I'm like, I press a button, and I'm like, and I kind of just snapped out of it, and then got into producer mode, and like, like weeds like that. It's kind of like that. If there's like an emergency,
Right.
you can kind of like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
It
So
wants you to stay in its land.
Yeah,
but if you can find your way through it if you have
and
to.
then just
right.
I kind of snapped out of it, and I just was like, can we do that again? And by me saying it was bad, it was just like he was just warming up,
Right.
obviously, and like we got through it, and he killed it. Obviously, he's a super pro, and he was just like, let me know what you need. And he kind of knew that I was in the situation, so he was like, listen, he's like, you got me for an hour. Like, tell me what to do. Like,
Right.
don't think that like you can't tell Snoop Dogg how to sing
Okay.
a song. Like, he
That's
was
cool.
pretty. Because I have seen people work with other artists where they're like, I'm this person. Like,
Yeah.
you can't tell me how to sing the fucking
Sure.
song. But he was like, tell me exactly what you want. Like, he's super nice guy.
Snoop Dogg's got a small ego.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's really
the
nice.
dude.
Yeah, and we had like some, after we had like, he's into the whole like bro down talk.
Nice.
Like he's like, we had a couple of bro down talks and just talk about the industry and like talk about like, being awesome at what you're trying to do in life and doing good things and
Like harnessing that good energy.
and just
cool.
being a good person. So he's,
Nice.
I like that guy. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Johnny, I'm going to do the final segment here. It's this little thing I do called the shit I'm into.
Yeah.
And today it's very simple because it's becoming yard season for me, and I'm getting my grass as green as I can,
Yeah.
as naturally as I can. None of that illegal shit. But anyway, I'm working on my yard. I'm getting pretty stoked about it. I'm into yard work. I'm into getting your hands in the soil and just getting dirty and, making sure the grass looks nice. And I don't know. That's the shit I'm into right now, man.
Nice.
What's the shit you're into?
Well, I back to that for a second. I know a guy. I know a guy has the good stuff. You want to get rid of those weeds. I love that stuff too, man. I love like gardening and growing things like that. But right now I'm really, 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 really into making my own salsa. I'm obsessed with it and like getting the right chip.
Oh,
It's just like every night, Sarah makes fun of me because every night I just like, before I go to bed, I just make I take like avocados and tomatoes and cilantro. I'm obsessed with cilantro. I can't get enough of the stuff. So I put like way too much cilantro in. And then like I'm always looking for like different chips too, just to find the right. Like I don't like them too salty, so I just I surround myself with like 6 different bags of chips. Like after I'm done in the studio, and I get like my salsa that I made, and I make it like super spicy, so no one else will even want to eat it. But I just like it still like I like it spicy, but it works out well because then like if anyone's around, like not that I don't like sharing, but when I make the salsa, it's like.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like
That's
I
your thing.
I want to I want every like I time the bites perfectly. I measure them out, and like
so premeditated salsa man. Like
exactly.
so just
Sarah like
zoning.
takes pictures of me sometimes when I'm like on the couch because she's like I have like 7 different bags around me. She's like, "You're insane, dude." But I'm trying to find like the perfect. I'm just trying to make the perfect salsa. So it's kind of my thing right now, and it might go away soon. I might overdose. I tend to like overdo things when I like something to the point where I overdose on it, and then I'm like, I'll never want to eat that again. And hopefully that won't happen. But that's definitely my shit I'm into right now.
Nice, Johnny. Right on, man. Well, let's have you plug some socials and stuff. I mean, most people know them anyway, but you might as well give us
for sure.
an
I mean,
update.
we're working on lots of cool stuff right now, so you got to stay tuned on our Twitter, Instagram. It's all at Walk Off the Earth, Facebook. The army is strong on there. We're doing some cool stuff, so keep your eyes open. We're working on, like you said, a bunch of collaboration projects. We got a new original EP coming out. Lots of cool things, more tours coming up. We're going to be hitting the States again, lots of Canadian shows. It's fun. It's fun stuff.
You guys are killing it, man. You're nonstop.
Thank you. As are you. I want to congratulate you on the new show.
Thank you,
I feel
brother.
like you have what it takes.
Ah, thank you.
So I'm looking forward to more episodes.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna keep doing it as best I can. Johnny had some ideas of trying to find some.
I was wondering when
some niche moves, but
I was wondering when the wings come out. This is that show, right? The wings
yeah, right. The
with the hot wings.
they're on their way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We do. That's like the next segment, right? Yeah.
Johnny Nicasio, thanks a lot, brother. Thanks for being here. I appreciate
Cheers,
it.
man. See you guys soon.